He co-founded Dream 11 in 2008 before fantasy sports was even a category in India. Today, Harsh Jain leads Dream Sports, a group that once commanded 250 million users and still counting upwards, and an $8 billion valuation. And then came the Promotion and Regulation of Online Gaming Act in 2025, legislation that wiped out nearly 95% of the company's revenue overnight. Now, most founders would have retreated in such a scenario, but Harsh leaned in. He's restructured Dream Sports into a portfolio of businesses spanning sports, entertainment, fintech, AI, and the creator economy. And he's betting big on a future where every Indian fan watches sport together, never alone, as he calls it. Today on the interview with me, Ayesha Faridi, I've got the co-founder and CEO of Dream Sports himself, Harsh Jain. Harsh, thank you so much for taking time out on ET Now.
Thank you, Ayesha. Thank you for having me.
Right. So I want to talk about that, that PROGA moment when 95% of your revenues were wiped out overnight. What was your first reaction? What was that first thought in your mind, and what was the first call you took?
I think it's more like those, to put a lighter note on it, it's, those 7 stages of grief, right? Like you first go to denial, and then over time acceptance, and then moving on. I think that, at least personally for me, we knew that, this is not something we wanted to fight. Right away we said that, look, if the government wants to take this move, it is thought about it. It is saying that we don't want this industry in India. Why fight it? We would rather than spend our time building things that actually are in alignment with our government's vision for India. And so yes, of course, it was insanely tough to accept that day. But I think the next day itself, we started building the next version of our company and put the past behind us.
But you've called this a return to roots moment for you, that moment in 2025, but you're essentially rebuilding a billions of dollars company from scratch. Tough?
Well, it was always tough. It was tough the first time around. It's going to be tough the next time around.
But you've got learnings now.
But we have learnings, we have capital, we have people. Talent is like one of the hardest things to procure, to get. We have a brand and we have a user base. We have 250 million users on Dream 11, and we have about 50 other million users across our other group companies, so about 300 million user base that trust our brand and love our brand, whom we can say that, okay, now that Dream 11's old version is dead, can we continue with providing you value here?
But tell me, since you did talk about talent, what I want to ask personally is, how do you build the team's confidence when the scoreboard is looking like that?
I can't say it was easy. It's definitely very tough to get morale high and get morale back up. But I can say that, we've had 18 years in building this company, and a lot of our people have had 10 years or 5 to 10 years, which is very rare in tech. But we've built a great culture, and thankfully, even after this kind of hit, 85% of our people stayed with us and believe that we will be able to build something of value again, which, goes towards, honestly, it's about culture, I would say. You can't fake this, right? So you have to, at least we addressed it straight on and said, look, it's gone. But these are the things we have in hand. And would you rather go join a startup which has an idea and a little bit of funding maybe, or would you rather continue here with this kind of user base, brand, we have capital, and this kind of talent? And thankfully, so far, 85% people said, yes, we'd like to continue.
But Dream Sports is somewhat now structured like an alphabet, if I can really compare it to that, a portfolio of sort of semi-autonomous startups. Why that model, and what is it that you've learned from this model?
So we've been building this model actually for the last 5-6 years. Even when we became profitable, we started investing as an incubator into solving the other problems in sports. So we started DreamSet Go and FanCode. FanCode is sports OTT, and DreamSet Go sports travel and experiences. And those two things are things we incubated. And over time, we got them running almost independently. Their own team, their own policies, benefits, salaries, structure, systems. And so we're a little bit used to that. Then we acquired a studio and renamed it to Dream Cricket. And that's a AAA mobile cricket game. So we've had this model for a while. And so what we did was after the ban, we said, while we're pivoting Dream 11, we definitely don't need 800 people, that was the workforce of Dream 11, to work on this new idea. But this amazing talent had a lot of other problems in sports in India that we could solve. And so we turned our attention to Dream Play and launched it, which is sports video AI, which we believe has a large future ahead of us. We also took our entire tech solution in Dream 11 and said that, okay, now that Dream 11 is not a client of those tech solutions we made, can India finally produce a company which doesn't rely on foreign tech all the time? Can we actually have indigenous tech built
Sovereign
in India?
AI.
Sovereign AI, but built in India, built for India, and then tomorrow for the world. So we took all those amazing systems that we created for this 250 million user base, 16, 17 million concurrent users, and we open sourced it, and now we're also productionizing some of it as a software solution.
You know, when you started off,
Yeah.
Dream 11 was sort of built on a skin in the game kind of business, and
Yes.
now it's a second party watch party, if I can call it that.
That's right.
Do users actually want this, or are you sort of creating a demand somewhere for this?
So we don't build things based on what users want. We build things based on solving a problem. Now, I can tell you the problem is very real.
Which is?
Users in India, like we used to go to a friend's house
Yeah.
or a club or a bar to watch a match, any big match. The only time I've gone to a club or a bar or had a friends over or went to a friend's house is now like an India-Pakistan match
Yeah.
or an India finals.
Yeah.
Every other match we're watching on our phone,
Yeah.
on the go, at home alone, and that's when you have the most amount of emotion. So everyone's on your phone watching, like we have 150 million people watching on connected TV, but everyone's on their phone tweeting
Yeah.
or on WhatsApp.
'Cause you want
or
to share with
you want to share this
someone.
emotion,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
highs and lows of
Yeah.
sports. And we said this cannot be the way, because you're usually spamming some large group of friends, like only 2 or 3 people, and they're spamming everyone else. So we said that people want interactive engagement during sports matches. So we want to convert this passive viewership of a match to having a device on your phone, which used to be fantasy. So you had skin in the game in a match because that was interactive engagement, how your team is doing, whether you're winning or losing. Now that after the ban, we're moving to interactive engagement through watch-alongs, watch parties. Fantasy is there, but as a free-to-play. Contests, polls, trivia, quizzes. And so we feel like people still want that interactive engagement, and we are solving it through another way. Now, whether the solution works or not, time will tell. We've gotten some really great initial feedback. We've gotten multiple creators cross 10 million views on a single day on our platform. We are trying to target 50 million active users during this IPL, which would be actually not very far from our real money gaming days, but very different monetization, of course.
Yeah.
But it goes to show that there are users that want this. And we will keep pivoting and adapting our idea and our solution based on solving that problem. But the problem, I think, is persistent.
Plus, you've always said that it's damn depressing to watch a match alone.
Yeah, it's depressing.
I feel it's coming from a personal place.
I think all ideas that founders have and all solutions founders work on almost has to be a personal problem. Because only then you're
Passionate about it. Yeah,
and
I get it.
willing to go the distance.
Yeah, absolutely. But tell me, the creator economy model, Harsh, is sort of putting creators first, and then the sort of revenue fits in, and they are the ones which are taking the larger share of the
That's
revenue
right.
now. How do you attract the right creators in the current scenario where I would say there's a flood of them out there?
Yeah. So we have so far onboarded about 100 creators, and we're using deep analysis to figure out how they do and giving that analytics back to them and saying, hey, when you spoke about XYZ or when you spoke in this manner, users responded better. So I think users, because we have tens of millions of users using our application, it's not like you start from scratch. So you get a ton of data. Every time creators come on board, users are either giving them virtual gifts, chatting with them, doing shout outs, all kinds of virtual interactions, which basically give you all the data you need to know. And I think that's how we kind of separate the wheat from the chaff, and we give that feedback back to the creators.
You know, the other thing that I wanted to take a leaf off is what we spoke about earlier, about talent retention. And you know, you've managed to sort of hold on to employees at a time when it was very easy to lay off the entire lot. How, as an entrepreneur, do you manage to retain talent in such sort of troublesome times and tough times?
Yeah, I think, look, if we lived by the saying that culture is our biggest moat, culture is the reason you come and work at this company, you can't just say that in the good times and not live by it in the bad times. I mean, the bad times is when you truly see whether we're walking the path. And so we stuck by the culture part, which was that talent is always number one. If you really want to build anything in the online space, we truly believe talent first. And if we can afford to keep that talent, then we definitely want to, and that's what we did. I think that we got thrown into a hole, and if I throw shovels out, then how do I dig myself, right? Like, every person that I have...
This incident has made you very spiritual
and
philosophical.
Everything, philosophical, spiritual, God-fearing, everything. But I think that, like, truly our assets in a digital business like ours, where we don't have logistics, warehouse, delivery, inventory, is literally our people. And so we need as many of them to help us build something great again.
But how do you keep talent hungry when the whole fundamental business itself has changed?
I think they're hungrier.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think actually we got a bit complacent when we were larger.
Okay.
But you know, now that there isn't
Don't even
something...
put that thought out in the universe.
I know. But it happens. Every large company goes through like complacency when things are good, and then you either are challenged by some large, disruptor, or in our case, your whole business is disrupted, which gets you back to ground again and hungry to build and rebuild and taste that, success that you had again.
But now you're with Dream Money, Dream Sports AI, Dream Set Go, fintech, AI, sports travel. Is there a sort of unifying thread to this all?
Yeah, I think we had a few fundamental thoughts about what we want to build and why we want to build. And I think right from our Honorable PM's vision of India to become a much larger sporting nation, we believe the way we can contribute is build the digital sports economy in a much larger way. And there we've built FanCode and Dream Set Go were already running. Dream Cricket, our AAA mobile cricket game, has over 25 million users. That's already going. Dream 11 has pivoted. Now with Dream Play, which is our sports AI, and with Dream Horizon, we are helping that entire sports economy to grow aggressively. Then we looked at what are the other problems that we can solve in India with our user base. And we said fintech has two large problems that we believe we can solve, where being AI first today actually disrupts the space.
How?
And those are wealth management. Now in India, if you're into wealth management, if you are a person that earns less than 1 crore, you literally cannot get anyone to help you with your wealth. Because wealth management was very high touch and personalized. And so it means that the
ticket sizes are much larger.
The economics only made sense if you have 1 crore to manage, right? If you don't, then I can't help you. With AI, we are able to take our 300 million user base and say, even if you have 1 lakh, 50,000, we're starting with 100 rupees actually. Even if you have 100 rupees a day, let us help you manage your wealth. Let us take AI and give the same level of service in a personalized manner to every single individual in India and grow that financial inclusion. And this message comes right from the top again. Our government is has been pushing very hard on financial inclusion. we have the user base, we have the brand, and we've seen great feedback from our users that we believe that you can actually help us. The other place in fintech was equity markets. Um, Such a large portion of our user base has never dealt in equity markets, is scared about getting into it because they don't feel knowledgeable enough. They want to, but they're worried. There's another large chunk of people who tried it out and they didn't know what they were doing and they immediately lost money and they retreated. That user base is never helped by people. They work on tips or some random information. But what if every one of them with AI could have a Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan analyst sitting with them, telling them what to do with every event that happens in the world at every point of time, specifically for their use case. So we want to build AI advisory for the masses, right, in a personalized way so that we can actually help millions of people to do much better in equity markets, which is usually information and advice that's only retained for the top. We want to level the playing field, and that's why we believe we can add a new dimension to the market, use our user base, use our brand, and build an AI-first solution for India.
So you're officially acknowledging that Dream Street is happening.
Yes, yes.
How soon is that?
This month, I think by the end of the month, you will see us launching into public.
Wow, what a market to launch this in.
It'll be fun.
And I'm just really excited. But so give me an example actually more for the viewers. When you say a Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan analyst sitting with you, what's the depth of AI assistance that investors can see?
I think once you download Dream Street, you'll have to figure that out. Let's leave something for people to download and check out.
That they will, I'm sure. Who came up with the name though? Or was it a natural progression? Has to be something with Dream?
Yeah, I mean, we always want something with Dream because that's where it lends a brand credibility for people to trust. And I think we were playing around with a few names and Dream Street popped up and I think it just fits.
It totally fits. But with this entry that you're making right now into stockbroking, is that how I term it? Yeah, AI-led stockbroking. You're walking into a marketplace which is very, very crowded with some very aggressive competitors out there who are sitting on big volumes. Your Grow, Zerodha, Angel One, which is already dominant, and then there is Cred, MobiKwik, and many others in the fray as well. Why this and why now?
I think this is something that, again, we looked at what are the large problems you can solve. Also, what is our company DNA? We're looking at industries which are digital first, which are less offline heavy and more online, because that's our DNA. We're good at tech, we're good at digital first. We have a great talent, team that can build products for the masses in India. We have a user base of 250, 300 million users. I think all of these put together points to this market having a problem that we believe we can come in and solve. And I think really strong AI advisory for the equity markets doesn't exist. And neither does, none of the current players have access to a user base which they have data of, which they know are the kind that would like this kind of market, but they don't know whom and where and when and how. We do. And so we do believe that we have an ability to reach users with our brand and say we're here to help. We're here to help the little guy, we're here to help level the playing field, and we're here to make sure that as many more millions of people enter the financial markets protected with AI advisory to ensure that they get the best out of it.
So the differential factor, if I've understood correctly, is AI is going to do the heavy lifting.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Dream Street, from what I gather, is targeting retail investors in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Is that's where you sense the large volume will come in from?
Yes, that's what I was saying, that 80% of our 300 million users were from tier 2 and 3 cities for Dream 11 and our group. And that's the untapped market. I think the tier 1 market is already tapped.
Saturated,
like Zerodha, Grow, Dhan, Angel One, all of them have already tapped into that.
So would you say that this is going to be sort of a distribution play which is going to be addressed as a fintech product? Is that the build?
No, I think we're here to solve the problem directly of investing in equity markets and giving people help there. So distribution, I would say, is our competitive advantage because we have it. We already have 50 million users active on Dream 11. So to them also we'll obviously market this heavily. But I think the product has to speak for itself. Finally, if you have to add value to people's lives, you have to solve a problem for them.
And this is going to be such a critical one, you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
Informed investing. I
Yes.
think that's where the need gap is. So Dream Money for wealth management,
Yes.
Dream Street for stockbroking.
That's right.
What's the financial investing stack looking like in your head? I'm wondering what's next.
I think, no, that's it.
That's it? Okay.
We have 8 different business units, 4 which already existed and 4 which we started new. And I think that's more than enough. Even in our distributed system where we have each one led by founders, CEOs. And we're essentially like a private equity shop that allows professional founders and CEOs to lead the way. I think that's more than enough for now. We have only a limited amount of capital which you want to get these businesses from 0 to 1 and hopefully 1 to 10. And then they can always spin off and continue their journey and keep growing and keep solving for India.
So all approvals in place for Dream Street?
Yes, that's one of our, make in India for India.
Yeah.
A couple of them are make in India for the world, like Dream Play, which is a sports video AI. But I think our greatest competitive advantage is our Indian user base and our Indian brand recognition and recall. So we definitely want to just focus on solving for India right now, solving for Bharat more so. And you never know. Like you said, these times get us to believe in faith and spirituality, and maybe everything that happens for a reason, and we'll build something even greater out of this.
Yeah, and I mean, if you have to follow the likes of Warren Buffett, buy the fear, sell the greed, it's no better time than this when everything is so fearful around us. But I want to go to fan code because as of now, Harsh, it's been quite the achiever in your portfolio, right? How central is it to what comes next? And is it sort of a new avatar post PROGA?
I think fan code has had very little implication. There's been very little implication on fan code after POGA. Fan code has been continuing its journey of providing sports video content, sports OTT platform for to be the premier sports OTT platform in India, because all the other sports OTT providers actually broad scale entertainment platforms which also do sports. I think FanCode is one of the only pure play sports OTT platforms. We also focus a lot on all the other sports like F1, football, kabaddi, hockey, golf, tennis, which we believe millions of Indians want to watch, but given the madness that is Indian cricket, and especially right now with IPL, everyone knows that, it's just so far ahead than everyone else that other sports don't really get a chance, but FanCode prioritizes them. And I think that's been a great thing to see. We've had over 200 million Indians use FanCode. And we can see that there are millions of people subscribing for non-cricket sports viewership. And so yes, it definitely has played an important part in having 2 businesses, FanCode and DreamSet Go, which were running businesses when POGA hit. Those are the 5% of revenue. When 95% was Dream 11, those still continue today and just help us not start from zero.
But tell me, like you mentioned, Indian sports audience is now fragmenting. While yes, it's a cricket crazy country and nothing comes beyond cricket. But there's cricket, football, kabaddi, now there's pickle, paddle, all of it, right? So would you build one platform to cater to all, or are they going to be fragmented products for each sport? How will it eventually take shape?
In terms of viewership or video content or live sports? No, I think there'll be one. One for all the others, because they all have different times when they're played or different, different audiences. And a lot of the people, if you see, who want something outside cricket are the kind who will have 3 or 4 other sports that they follow. they won't just be an F1 fan.
Yeah.
They'll be the kind who watch golf or play golf,
Yeah.
F1, paddle, tennis. And so there's a certain stereotype to a sports fan that goes beyond cricket in India, that they end up being a much broader sports fan.
That's true. So you faced about 150 plus investor rejections very early on, right, in your career.
Yeah.
A Supreme Court battle to prove fantasy's skill, and now a regulatory wipeout recently in 2025. Which of those would you say tested you the most as an entrepreneur?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I still think the Series A, the first round of funding.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because at that time you don't have a team, you have no proof that you can build anything. You're just a person with a dream, which, excuse the pun, but you're just an entrepreneur with a dream that you and maybe your family believes in. And today we have proven that we are able to not just build but scale a business. We have talent, we have brand, we have capital. We have a lot more than starting from scratch. And so I think that those early years and the family support that's required then was still harder than today. Not that now is easy. This comes a very close second. It's a very different kind of fight, right? It's a different battle for relevance when you're already at the top of the mountain, and then to be relevant again to fight back. But I think fighting back is a different challenge. But overall, fighting for the first time is harder.
Really? I would have thought now, I mean, because you have that safety net and you have a lot of, or rather, a bigger stake in the game, if I can call it that.
Yeah, they're both tough, but I would still say the first one slightly edges out the second one.
That's interesting. So, I've got a rapid fire for you, which I will come to, but in just a bit. Before that, now as you look at your full portfolio, 11 businesses, am I right?
So 11 include the investments into sports team and Dream Sports Foundation. It's 4 prior businesses and 4 new. It's 8 businesses.
Okay, 8 businesses in all. And a 3 to 4 year runway, at least as of now that we know of.
If the retrospective tax...
Yes, that's going to be a big hurdle. Do you sense that? No?
I mean, we don't know. It's the Supreme Court judgment will come out. But yes, we have a few years of runway. But obviously, if the Supreme Court judgment comes against us, then I think it'll wipe out not just us but hundreds of companies, because the show cause notice was of a running business at that time 10 times the gross revenue. Now it's essentially not payable by anyone in any way whatsoever. Over 10 years, 20 years, nothing.
So then what do you do?
Let the, course of law take its path.
Yeah.
But we'll see when the judgment comes out. I think we've tried not thinking as much about what to do if a nuclear bomb hits, and we'll just decide what to do after if you get bombed.
Yeah.
But I think right now we're just focused on building. But we have to be aware of the fact that there is a Supreme Court judgment coming out, and that will have an impact on our lives and the lives of hundreds of companies in India, including some publicly listed ones.
So if you had to pick one business that's going to surprise all, I know it's fan code as of now, but that one star in your bouquet of 8 businesses.
I can't choose between my children.
Very old cliche.
Yeah, I know.
But one that is a surprise. I'm not saying the one that you love the most.
Yeah.
But one that will surprise everyone from the dream bouquet in the next, say, 3 years.
I think actually Dream Horizon, which is our software solution, we have such differentiated AI software solutions that we've created for Dream 11 at scale, which still don't exist in the world.
Like?
We have a solution which actually, I won't take up too much time on the technical part, but essentially, as a business owner, I know when my app is working or not working.
Yeah.
for users. But everyone knows that there is a certain amount of users on your platform who have a degraded experience. Now, those are paper cuts that keep hurting a business and its revenue. But they're so hard to measure because it's just a degraded experience with some latency. So, you know, sometimes you'll book an Uber or order some food on Zomato or whatever, and it just takes longer. And sometimes that will lead to you dropping out. Now it's working. It's just not working as well as it should. That is a solution we developed internally to be able to find and monitor every single time a user has a latency issue and fix it. That used to save Dream 11 tens of millions of dollars a year.
So this is for Dream 11 or is it a B2B business?
No, now that Dream 11 doesn't have that user base and client anymore, we are productionizing it as a software solution as a B2B one. And so I think that's like the dark horse, if you may, because no one expects that from us. We are a B2C company. But this solution, if it comes out and helps other companies also, the same way it helped Dream 11, can be a pretty large made in India, pure tech, deep tech platform that is a AI software solution.
That actually sounds very interesting. Do you have a client base just yet?
We have some design partners, some unicorns which have signed up as design partners, and so they're going to test it out first, give us feedback, and then we'll bring it to market.
Interesting. So 3 years out, what will define the dream bouquet? Is it going to be gaming, content, fintech, or something entirely new?
I think if we can make a substantial impact on the sports economy, if we can improve financial inclusion in India, if we can be a AI first company and not just using foreign models but actually building our own AI, fine tuning, we can fork out of some open source models today. It is very hard to start from scratch with LLMs. But we can take some of the open sourced ones and actually build for India. If we can make in India first for India and then for the world, these are kind of like our overall targets that I would say in the next few years. And obviously create value for our shareholders from the massive loss of value that we've seen happen overnight.
Would you say you're a techie at heart?
No, I'm actually, I am an engineer by profession. But the last line of code I wrote was 22 years ago.
Now you don't need to. AI does that for you.
Really, I am actually building on Claude. I've been going and building with natural language, and it is just unbelievable to be able to build using just regular English. But I'm a product design marketing guy. Like I'm a product guy first.
That's interesting. Okay, so fantasy sports or live sports? This is the rapid fire, by the way.
There's no fun in live sports without fantasy sports.
I wanted you to gut call or data call?
Gut call when creating, data call when you already have, a running business.
Which you do.
Yeah, for creation, you need gut, because if you just listen to data, everyone has the same data. You need to have that gut about instinct and a problem that you're trying to solve.
Okay, try and be rapid for the other questions.
Gut call.
Hardik or Rohit?
Oh my, come on. How can... That's not possible to answer.
You don't get
it.
Okay. Creator economy or traditional media?
Creator economy.
Okay. One sport you wish Dream Sports was bigger in?
Football.
The 2028 LA Olympics, attendee or broadcaster?
Broadcaster.
Okay. So you're not attending it?
Definitely attending it.
So but both.
What would I prefer? You have to give me if I had to choose one, obviously I'd rather be the one with broadcasting.
This I wouldn't mind if you said both. Okay. Regulation, friend or foe to innovation?
To?
Innovation.
I think, honestly, I truly believe both. It can be both. Because I think for disruption, pure disruption, regulation will slow it down. For industries which are already regulated, that regulation is very much required to spur more innovation, because You can't just innovate randomly, for example, in the stock market, in equity markets. You can't allow rampant, unchecked innovation. And that helps keeps the good players innovating. But in disruptive markets, for example, an Ola, Uber, Airbnb, even e-commerce or Dream11, disruption has been hurt by regulation before.
Very diplomatic.
I know, very diplomatic.
But yeah, okay.
These are tough questions.
Last match you watched alone that you wish you hadn't, considering you hate watching matches alone.
Almost every United match. I'm a die-hard Manchester United fan.
Okay.
And unfortunately not too many others out there that I can find to get out of their home and go watch a match with right now.
Understood. One company outside India building something that you genuinely envy as an entrepreneur.
Claude. I mean, there cannot be any other answer right now.
Fascinating.
Their ability to not just build, but I think last month they had 51 releases.
Yeah.
And every release wipes out like billions of dollars or sometimes $250 billion of market cap because they're just disrupting every field. So, Anthropic, without a doubt.
If you weren't building Dream Sports, what would you be doing?
I would be building something probably in the animal industry. I'm obsessed with with animals. I love animals, and I think that the whole animal industry,
like a Vantara?
No, definitely not. No, I mean I recently we kept a chief happiness officer. We got a dog in the office.
Okay.
Definitely needed for morale right now.
Yeah.
And it was so hard, right from finding a breeder that gives a thoroughbred, has paperwork, the dog comes in good health, medical checkup, finding out what kind of food for that kind of dog at that kind of age, getting someone to take care of the dog. All of this is so difficult.
And so fragmented.
Yeah,
if there was one-stop shop for all of it.
I think the animal industry in India, like the pet industry, industry, pet care is far from ideal today.
Dream pet,
okay.
Dream paw.
If I wasn't doing Dream, then I couldn't use Dream.
Yeah.
So then something.
Is the dog called Dream?
No, the dog's called Coco.
Okay.
And the next we're getting 2 dogs, Coco and Loco.
Okay. Hardik or Rohit?
No, we can't do this. I said Paji, Sachin.
Okay.
Sachin.
Okay. Well, great chatting with you, Harsh. Thank you so much, and may there be many other dreams in the dream bouquet.
Thank you, Ayesha.
Thank you so much
for having me.